What's the red flag about me?
There's definitely some things that like irked me out a lot. Like his socks are never white.
Hey.
Okay, see,
Hey,
like
hey.
I'm not gonna get into it.
Hey.
Never know how to say sorry. Like that was not even in my vocabulary. Why are you like agreeing?
No, it's
Are you
just
about to
like,
cry?
I've never heard you like say these things like out loud.
You were expected to just be silent with one another instead of opening up. A couple of days later,
Yeah.
just go back to normal, acting
Yeah.
like nothing happened.
Why are you upset?
Food's ready. Come eat it. You are in for a treat when you listen to this episode because not only are we airing out our dirty laundry where we talk about some of the red flags and toxic traits that we've had to unlearn over the past 2 years, on top of that, we talk about some of the ways that we've unlearned it, some things that have prevented us from learning it, why we were so normalized to these red flags, and hopefully this gives you some inspo on some of the things that you might be doing unknowingly, some toxic traits that you might have to unlearn, because a lot of us aren't aware of our own doings, right? So I hope this like makes it more of a conversation in your daily lives and you actually work towards unlearning these things together. But if you guys are interested in this episode, make sure to keep on watching or listening.
Welcome back to another episode of your favorite / the best podcast in the world. Difficult-ish. It's difficult-ish.
We had to re-record the intro because apparently I was being too silly goofy in the last
It's a
one.
podcast about different South Asian narratives, hosted by my co-host right here,
Mahul Khan. And my co-host right here.
Masha Munir.
Right.
And before we get any further, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow the podcast, rate the podcast, review the podcast.
Maybe
Love the podcast.
comment on my new
Admire
glasses.
the podcast. New glasses?
New glasses.
I didn't know you had new
they
glasses.
have little bows on them. Comment below if you're watching the video on my new glasses and let me know if you think it suits my face.
Be honest, guys. I think they do. I think they're right.
Maybe don't be too honest.
Okay. Oh.
Don't be too brutally honest, you know. Like,
I
like you can do better. Like, why would I want to hear
you
that?
don't like constructive criticism? Like, you don't appreciate
well,
that?
there's like a limit to it, you know.
Is there?
Yeah.
So why do you criticize me about everything every day?
What are
all
you
the time,
talking
all at
about?
once?
What are you genuinely talking about? This man today asked me. He was like, yeah, I'm thinking about getting a haircut. I almost started crying. What do you mean you want to get a haircut? Like,
I want to cut my hair.
a simple trim is fine to, like, you know, let the hair grow back and more healthy.
Here's
what
the
do you
thing.
mean you want to cut it off?
You don't understand, like what a man goes through.
What? What does it go? What do you go
Like
through?
when my hair is long, I want it to be short.
Yeah, so trim it a little bit.
No, but I don't want to pull it back. You understand? Because then I gotta use extra product. That's extra time in the day.
How much
I don't got that
time
much
does
time
it
in
take?
the
You
day.
have so much time in the day.
You mean that?
You went to sleep at 1 a.m. last night because you wanted to watch Avengers Endgame.
Me.
Well, I never watched it, so.
What's up? How are you?
I'm good.
Been
I'm
alright?
feeling good. The weather hit 60 degrees in New York City.
Yeah, it's crazy. God
Vibes
bless.
are up.
Yeah,
Vibes
it's
are
crazy.
up.
It's like you know like fall time 60 degrees. People like start like bundling like the 60 degrees after summer. People start bundling up
Yeah.
like their overcoats, their puffer jackets, all their leather boots. But the 60 degrees after winter, people are outside in bikinis. People are outside in crop tops.
Who's doing bikini?
People are outside just chilling,
Right.
as if 6 months ago they weren't super bundled up. You know, so it's crazy. It's psychological. You understand?
You feel like you experienced like your first seasonal depression this year?
Yeah, I did. I
Yeah.
did. Seasonal depression. It's real.
Yeah.
I don't think I was depressed.
Yeah.
I was just quite unambitious
Yeah.
about wanting to hang out with people because I,
it
didn't
was
want to go
hibernation
outside.
era.
You know, like I live in New York City now, so I want to go to, you know, different spots. I want to explore the city. I want to go see this place and that place, but it's too cold to do any of that. You understand? It's not even the cold, it's the wind. You know, the wind does it
It's
to
a
you. You understand?
mindset
You
shift.
understand? Yeah, so that seasonal depression stuff, that's real. That's
Yeah.
real. The summer
You know,
coming
I
up.
tried convincing him for so many years. He never believed me because he's a Florida boy. But now he's getting accustomed to it, you know? But, you know, today is another day during Ramadan, so we got no beverages. I'm not fasting today. He is. So out of respect for him, I didn't pull out a beverage. So no beverage of the day, just, you know, saliva.
Just
But yeah, I hope you enjoyed our intro. You liked and subscribed. You have rated and reviewed because that's all you had to do. But if you guys clicked on this episode, there's definitely a reason that you have clicked on it, right? Maybe you just like us, which thank you so much. We appreciate the nice little compliment. I know you didn't compliment us actually, but
we do.
If you just like our energy, then great. You can hang out with us.
But
if you also click on this episode because you want to hear some of the red flags that we've unlearned over the years, because guess what? We all have red flags. There's no such thing as a perfect human being.
What's a red flag about me?
I mean, you know what? There aren't that many anymore. There are some things that you can definitely change.
Thing, like you've ever said about me.
No, yeah. There's definitely some things that like irked me out a lot. I'm not gonna even get into it.
Okay.
Like his socks are never white.
Hey.
Okay, see, like I'm not gonna get into it. We both have red flags, right? Not as much as we did before in the good old days when we were in high school and we're in early college in our toxic era, in our villain era. Like we're not really in that anymore, right? So
I understand.
We are gonna, take out our dirty laundry and talk about our red flags. Maybe give you some inspo on some red flags you might have that you might not be aware of, because we practice self-awareness on this channel, on this podcast, because we also made a whole episode on that if you want to listen to how to be more self-aware, right?
You should.
And second and third, we want to talk about why it might have been hard for us to unlearn some of these red flags, and also some things that we did to unlearn these things, right?
Wow.
So it's kind of like a 3-part episode.
I know we're doing.
We're really jam-packing a lot of things in here just to give you some of the most information that we have, so you can take some steps to actually like unlearn some of these things if you might have it, right?
Wow.
Yeah, back then when I first met you, like virtually, you're a great human being. I was like, oh my god, this is the one, right? But also, there were some like not red flags, but like some things that like I was hoping that you would fix over time.
Okay.
Some like traits, some toxic traits,
That's normal.
It's normal.
That's normal.
Like I'm not gonna just stop talking to you because you have some of these traits because you're imperfect, right?
Got it.
Like obviously, if they were like so grand, then you would hope. If they were so grand, then you would hope that like I would move on. Right?
Yeah.
But there were small mini ones that I was hoping that you would change.
I understand.
Right?
I understand. That makes sense.
I'm sure I had some too.
No, none.
I had no red flags. Okay. Anyway, so we are going to talk about some of the red flags that we had that we unlearned. Let's get into it, right?
Yeah, let's do it. You
want to start first or me?
I mean, like, just as some background, we're talking about red flags that we unlearn, like, about, like, any sort of topic. You know? So it's, like, relationships or just, like, friendships, like, how we communicate with our parents, us at work, us, whatever it is, just all types of situations, just things that we had to unlearn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go first.
Yeah.
I'll go first. One, I was going to look it up. I remembered. One thing that I used to be very, very bad at, but I am a lot better now at. What it was is I used to just like automatically be like treat everything like negatively, or like have like a negative attitude towards like anything, so it's like if something bad happens, I'm the last person you want to talk to, because I will be thinking about the worst possible outcome in 1,000 different ways. Or if we're lost, or if we don't have any plans or whatever it is, I'm the negative Nancy. Just I was not a good time to be around, because I was just like negative. Like, you don't like being around people with negative. Right? You don't want people that, their mind automatically goes to like, oh my god, let me list and think about all the ways that this is a bad situation. Yeah. Instead of thinking about like, okay, let me try to, find the light out of this. And I think that kind of comes from like, I don't know. I think growing up, whenever I wanted to share any sort of good news, or I wanted to share anything positive, I would automatically be shut down. And that would sometimes happen with people at school too. Like, I would want to share it. I don't know if it was anything about me. Maybe my approach was wrong or whatever it is. I just feel like I experienced so much of that growing up, where like I would want to share something and like I would not be receiving like the feedback that I feel like I was, outputting. Like I would not be receiving the same type of energy that I was giving out. And I think that just conditioned me to be to have like a cold heart. You know, at the end of the day, just have a cold heart. Look at everything.
But do you think you grew up with like scarcity mindset where you felt like, you know, resources were not as abundant around you, and you felt like you are going to have the worst outcome or not the best future because you didn't grow up in, you know, the richest area in comparison to maybe other people in the brown community or whatever it was?
That's the thing too. You know, because people always tell you like, oh, like things get better, you know. And you bank on that and you put so much hope in that. But when you're living your life and things continue to go down and you have not had any sort of increase or any sort of uplift ever, like you're gonna get cold. You know, you're gonna start doubting what all these people tell you all the time. You know, you're gonna start just not believing that they're telling the truth, and you know that kind of turns you cold. You know, and it kind of like makes you like stagnant until something happens or like until something changes. So that's something that I used to be very, very bad at, or good at being negative, bad at being positive. I'm not that no more.
I think you're more encouraging. I think you're still a realist, where you're able to kind of think more of a real outcome instead of being like overly hopeful and like a dreamer.
I'm not even talking about like for me. I'm talking about the person,
energy.
The energy that I give off.
I think you give off good energy.
Good.
Now. Positive, abundant energy now.
Good.
Which is great.
Okay.
I think a lot of us also grew up with maybe trust issues where it's hard for us to maybe open up to other people or like believe other people, and that leads to having a smaller circle and maybe not trusting everyone and believing the worst in everyone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I just like started becoming like a lot more grateful for life. You know, like grateful for like everything that you have and empathetic towards other people, you know, like being able to travel outside of my own neighborhood and like experience other types of people, experience other cultures, go traveling. There's so many things that can feed into, you know, your heart getting bigger. I just felt like a lot of that happened to me in my early 20s.
Yeah.
And just like reflecting a lot on like my life growing up, you know, because like when you're growing up in like a unfortunate circumstance, it's tough to look at the good out of it. You know, you're not looking at like the light at the end of the tunnel. You're like, okay, like this is my life, this is where I'm at. But once you exit it and you look back at it and you realize like, oh, like there was so much there that like I didn't even see. You know, because like you're blinded, like everything is just like nearby, and it's like that is like your life. You're just not conditioned to think how this is a good situation because you're comparing yourself to all your friends that are at school that have better situations or online, social media, whatever. But I think like once I exited, I was able to realize like how much I had to like be grateful for.
So I have a question. You said you did like a lot of reflecting as you grew up on who you were before in your life and how you should be more aware and cognizant and, you know, happy about the life you had. How do you feel like one should start reflecting? You know, like, is there a go-to thing that you did, or maybe like an epiphany that you had, or maybe you just were bored with life and refused to, you know, indulge in watching a movie or drinking and this and that kind of numbed everything? Like, how do you actually reflect?
I think before you try to start working on reflecting, you have to like get your your mind has to like enter a space where like you allow it to happen, you know. So I think what happened for me was just like I had to get out, like I said before, I had to get out and I had to experience new things, because like, you know, I remember the first time that like I left my neighborhood somewhere like far away in my city, like Winter Park's like 35 minutes away. I took the Sunrail train there when I was like 18. I remember I stepped out, I was like I didn't believe that this was my city. Like I was like, there's no way, like there's all this life out here. Like growing up where I grew up, like you're not thinking like this is a lively place, but like you step out, you experience something else, you're like, damn, like there's all this life out here. Like there's so much going on that I never even understood. Like my eyes were just so blinded growing up, and that starts the cycle, you know. So it's like I can't sit back at home at 17 and be like, okay, let me reflect about how my life wasn't that bad at 12. I'm like, my life is still kind of bad at 17. You know, like you have to exit that space. You have to go experience new things. You have to build yourself up a little bit in life to allow your mind to enter that reflection state. So that's really what did it for me. You know, I just experienced new things, and I talked to a lot of people. That also did. I learned a lot of people's stories like that didn't come from where I came from. You know, like I'm talking to a lot of people that come from nicer areas, and like I'm learning about like their situation, and I'm just like thinking and reflecting about how, like, you know, I have so much, or I was given so much, and I learned so much growing up where I grew up that like these people don't have. That like money can't buy you. That like, you know, like the different types of people that I was around, or like all those perspectives I was able to understand growing up. You know, like there were a lot of like people working on like the streets, like people that were like construction workers, or people that sold drugs, or people, whatever it was. Like I was able to gain the perspective of like a lot of these people that you know, you can't learn that in a textbook. You can't learn that like money doesn't buy you perspective or anything.
Like keeping an open mind to just other people's experiences and just talking to others and learning from them.
Yeah, I think
instead of feeling like you were like the smartest in the room.
Yeah, I think like the nucleus of it is just like,
I like that one.
Yeah. I know you would. You like that one?
It's a poet thing, I think, right?
Like the nucleus of it is like growing up with less can really be a blessing, you know, because like you can really grow up with so much that like money cannot buy you. You know, just like so many little pieces of happiness that like people who grow up in a nicer circumstance, they would just not experience, you know. And it's like, you know, if you were given if you were born rich and you were given $1 million when you were 18, you're not going to appreciate it. You give us $1 million now, we're going to be like, well, we understand like how much this is worth, you know, because like of like what we come from, you know. So like it really is a blessing to grow up low income, because the perspective that you gain on just like the world is incomparable.
Well, it sucks in the beginning.
But it's all worth it, you know. Like I would go back and do it all over again, you know. I would never want to change the way that I grew up. So yeah, sorry for yapping. You understand?
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, I like that first one.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, so a red flag that I had to fortunately unlearn. Yeah. And I'm still trying to be better at it, is being so defensive when, you know, an argument arises, or it feels like someone is coming at me personally if they bring a concern up, or, you know, something up, and automatically turning it into an argument where my walls are up and I feel like they're criticizing me personally and I'm criticizing them back, instead of trying to hear them out and you know, understand where they're coming from. That's deep. Do you feel like in the beginning I had a lot of that? you were there in the
yeah, man,
the rough of it. So.
I think I just kind of shut it out.
Oh, wow.
As in, like, I can't remember any specific circumstances, but I think you did that a lot. I think you did that a lot.
And now,
you're so much better now.
Yeah,
you are so much better now.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're just so much more communicative now, and you're, you know, just so much more like, you've always been empathetic, but I feel like you entered like a new phase of like empathy, where like you started like, you know, keeping in mind like, you know, what people are like actually going through before like you interact with them, you know. I think like before it was just kind of like, you know, like you would be talking to somebody and like you would like get the vibes off of them and whatever, and like you would always be caring towards someone, but I think like you're just like, you've entered like a new space of like care and empathy. Like, I
appreciate that,
you know,
buddy.
so.
I appreciate that a lot from you.
Facts. You have grown that. But, yeah,
but I think it's hard for someone who grew up with this argumentative background, maybe saw their parents fighting all the time, or maybe just saw this in their friendships and, you know, how they grew up. And, you know, I personally have always seen my brother always fighting back, my parents bickering and this and that. I've never really seen like a empathy based conversation where both parties are respecting one another, respecting each other's thoughts, and there's like an open mindset where it's kind of receptive of one another, you know? And I think because of that, it was so normal for me to just talk back. And also in South Asian culture, we're very like loud people for the most part, right? Like even at a dinner table, if we're all sitting down as a family or just talking, everyone's kind of talking over one another. Everyone's kind of just like getting their own point in. Everyone's like joking and, you know, saying something kind of rude, sarcastic, or whatever it is, and it's kind of normal, right?
Yeah.
That's a very like traditional thing, you know. Even Italian families, like, it's kind of talking over one another, whatever. And I think, huh? You just said we? That's French. Okay. I don't know why you thought you could get away with that one.
Sorry, it's a thing about
okay.
gratitude.
And I think with that type of dynamic growing up, I always felt like I have to talk back and get my 2 cents in, because someone coming at me with a concern is automatically in my head that they're disrespecting me and that I have to disrespect them back in return. Your voice just cracked so much.
I'm dehydrated.
Like at that point, you didn't even have to respond.
I'm dehydrated.
That was like 4 octaves of different. Okay, but anyway. So I just would tear someone apart if someone came at me, right? Like I would never hear them out, and I would never know how to say sorry. Like that was not even in my vocabulary. Why are you like agreeing?
No,
I'm about to cry.
It's just like I've never heard you like say these things like out loud, you know. Like,
so anyway,
it's really touching for me, you know.
Over the past few years, I feel like I've learned some sort of accountability and some sort of empathy where I am more silent instead of reactive. You like that one? And I think I had to have an ego death. And we talked about this briefly in our last 2 episodes, or last episode, where to have some growth in your life, to be more accountable, you have to have this sense of ego death, right? And ego death is, you know, kind of detaching yourself from other people's emotions and detaching yourself from, you know, knowing that you're not in control of everyone else's life, so you shouldn't let it bother you. Ego death is also accepting that you should not let your pride get in the way and apologize when you're in the wrong. You know, not let everyone walk all over you by saying sorry all the time, but, you know, just taking more accountability. And then it kind of goes into it's more of like a cannonball where it goes into the other steps and makes you grow even more, right?
Yeah.
And I think a catalyst for this was seeing how other people in my life haven't reached this step, where they've never reached the level of accountability. They're always in the right even when they're not. They're always continuously arguing and fighting with one another, and you can't ever reach them or have like an actual conversation with them because they're never hearing you, right? It's always like their side of the conversation and they're always right. And I think I've just seen not only the negative effects that it has on everyone else because of their type of attitude, but also how they're just never going to grow, right? And I hated that for myself. And I refused to become that type of person. So, you know, I started coming out from a place of empathy. I started just detaching myself from my usual habits. Like I stopped feeling like, okay, these habits are me and I'm going to be like this forever, and kind of detaching myself from of these mindsets that they're permanent and that they're going to be me forever. And I think that's what helped me grow. I just like refused to become the people that I disliked, you know? And I've just become more accountable.
That's good. So, I got a question.
Yeah.
Like what are like tangible things that people can use to like grow some accountability? Like how did you become more accountable for like your actions and like your feelings? Like more than just like empathy, like or the like actual thing, like you practice this or like someone told you this, or like, you know, like more like specific things.
I think spending time by myself helped a lot. Like if I'm going through a friend breakup or going through something that's very transformational, obviously having people around you to support you is very helpful, and like I always recommend that, but also having time by yourself to feel these emotions and self-discover and do the things by yourself and see who you are is very helpful, because you do so much growth in that process. And also in that time, you don't depend on other people to fix you or make you feel better, And I think like when, my friends or people that I'm close with have breakups in their life, it helps so much when they finally have some detachment from that person and like just detachment from their old life and try to practice these self-love things on their own, and it helps them discover who they are, and in that process they do start maybe acknowledging some of the toxic things that they might have done in this relationship or things that they've accepted from the partner in that relationship, and it makes them have like that time and space to finally be aware of that. And then it's up to them if they want to take the steps to fix that, right? Like if they knew in their past relationship or in all of their past relationships that they've had an anger issue, I think after dealing with it 2, 3, 4 times in these relationships and in your life, and finally realizing that you might have a problem, it's up to you to start trying to figure out how you can be kinder and be better with yourself and then maybe with other people, and then go into your next relationship or your whoever in the next part of your life.
Yep.
After dealing with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have anger issues?
No. Do you?
I don't think so.
Yeah, you're a kind, soft human being. I think that's true.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's exactly what I want to be.
It's nice to have a man that is able to express his feelings without anger and, violence in his voice.
Yeah, we got like the pickle for Fortnite. That's like my spirit animal.
Yeah,
we'll put a picture of him right here. It's
I've
like
been
a
playing
new Fortnite skin.
I've been playing a lot of Fortnite recently to like, end the day on a good note.
Yeah.
It's like something I look forward to after a long
work
really day.
Is. You guys have no idea. Like,
what do you mean by that?
Like it'll be like more. It'll be the day before and shit. I can't wait to play Fortnite tomorrow. Like,
okay. I don't know why you had to say that, but
like I'm so happy that like we were watching Avengers and they had like a snippet of Fortnite playing and she was like, "Oh my god, like they made this movie for me." Like I'm so happy that like you finally have something that like you like love.
And the
so
thing
much.
is, like, people are like surprised. They're like, "Oh my god, I didn't know you had it in you to be playing so good." Like I've had some of my friends reach out to me. They're like,
pretty good.
"Since when are you a shooter? Like how can you get that many kills and play?" You guys don't know who I am. In my past, like
Okay.
I was in so many clans, Mystique, like I was doing these like sniper shots. I was doing these like, you don't even get it.
I don't
even get it.
I don't know nothing about that.
I was doing trick shots. All right, anyway, you want to move on to yours? You liked mine?
Yeah, that was good.
Okay.
Real honest and real
honest and raw.
Yeah, real.
We
like,
really put it down in this podcast.
Real personable. I really admired that about you.
Okay.
I can go next.
Yeah. You're about to start crying? Like, what's going on? You can check your phone. It's okay.
No, I remember.
Okay.
A lot of these kids nowadays, like a lot of these like South Asian kids nowadays, they don't be helping their parents. And that's a big red flag for me.
I don't understand. How is this a red flag for you?
Like it's something that I was like this for a portion of my life. And I really regret it, and like I very quickly grew out of it. And I'm so happy that I grew out of it so quickly because I just didn't like that I was not doing anything for like my family at like one certain point in my life. And I just see it going on so much nowadays. And I just think it is so disrespectful. And I just think it is so like counterintuitive to why you are here and like why you are doing the things that you're doing, especially if you have two hardworking, struggling parents, you know? Like I just don't like it because, like I grew up in like the gas station. Like I grew up in like my mom's backyard, like gardening with her, like, like just doing like a bunch of yard work, doing a bunch of housework. Like that's what I grew up doing. And like for a portion of my life, maybe when I was like 16, 17, I was just like going through it. And I just like, as like a form of rebellion, I like just stopped helping like my mom with like a bunch of stuff. And like I would like look at her like working extra hard, and like I just wouldn't do anything. And like I regret doing that for like a portion of my life. But like I quickly got it back when I was like 18, and you know, like a hurricane hit at the house, and just had to do like a bunch of stuff. I've just always done a bunch of stuff to help my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like that's my duty and my responsibility. You know, like there's like obviously there's the limit, there's the balance, there's the, you know, like don't lose yourself in doing that, you know, but that doesn't mean you can completely get rid of it, you know?
Do you feel like financial help is the same thing as physical help?
No.
Like, do you think you're exempt from one thing just because you gave money?
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Physical help is just as important, if not more important, than like giving like helping pay the mortgage. Like obviously that's a start. Like that's the bare minimum that you can do. Like especially if you're like, you know, depending on your age, if you're like 20, 21, 22. But that's just like incomparable to physical help. Like helping out in the yard, doing cooking a meal every couple of days. Like I mean, with owning a home, there's just like there's so much stuff. There's so much stuff when it comes to owning a home.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, like if you live anywhere, but like, especially in the South, like there's insects, there's flying creatures, there's reptiles.
I mean, it's true.
You know, there's just so much, and
you guys got eagles too.
Yeah, that's just like the animals part. Like your yard gets super dirty because if you have a bunch of trees, there's leaves falling every day.
And then there's also natural disasters.
You gotta board up the house. You gotta, you know, get all these emergency supplies. So much stuff.
And now you got chickens.
Now I got chickens. Now I got 4 more friends to take care of. You know, a dishwasher. You know how like your dishwasher broke the other day?
Yeah.
God forbid your dishwasher broke in a house. God forbid. $10,000.
$10,000.
Damn near, like. Bro,
that's what it feels like nowadays.
It's ridiculous, and you know, I just like have such little respect for like kids that just like don't do. And I'm talking about kids. Like, don't get me started with just like 25-year-old, 30-year-olds that are just not doing something for them. It's crazy. They came all the way here. You're doing nothing for them. It's crazy.
And guess what? It's a red flag because earlier on, if you're not learning how to do these basic chores and helping out your parents and, you know, being in the kitchen and doing this and that, later on, you grow up to not know any of these basic things. You're in college, you're married, you don't know how to do your own laundry. You don't know how to cook a simple PB&J. You don't know how to put a dish rag on the dish on the oven.
I mean,
you know,
if you don't know how to put it, I mean,
you look, Charlie, if you don't know how to do that. But yeah, it's important to start early. It's important to do those things even when you don't feel like doing it. You know, now that I don't live at home anymore, I understand the hard work and prep that goes into making iftar when you're breaking fast. You know, growing up, it was mostly just my mom while she was fasting on her own, cooking the food, tasting the food on, you know, the bare minimum without actually eating it. It was her prepping the table. It was her doing this and that. And she would always ask me and my brother to help because my dad was working still. And I would get annoyed. My brother would get annoyed. Because, you know, we're fasting, we're tired, we have homework or whatever it is.
Boo.
But it's like now that I'm older and I'm, you know, prepping it myself and I know how to do it, it's not the easiest. You know?
Facts.
So.
You know what's the craziest part? It's like, it takes me like 4.5 hours to like cook a meal. How are they cooking meals for like a family of 6 in like 15 minutes? What's going on?
Family of 6 and then like 7 entrees.
3 times a day.
7 entrees.
What's going on? 8 appetizers. 14 drinks. They're doing so much.
Super power women.
Insane. Some of y'all have no idea.
Yeah.
Most of y'all do. God bless y'all.
Yeah.
Some of y'all don't. The target are the ones I don't. I just don't like that. You know?
Yeah. So you've unlearned it?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I just brought it up because like I know there was like a phase in my life where like I just didn't as like a form of rebellion. I just regret it, you know?
Yeah.
But my whole life, absolutely. Like I've always and you know, you're talking about like from like the personal end, like how it helps you. I'm talking about like it's disrespectful, bro.
Yeah.
It's just disrespectful, bro.
Yeah.
Like they came all the way here.
Yeah.
Bare minimum. That's
They
it.
came all the way here to just have your kid disrespect you by not helping you do the dishes.
Go
So
ahead.
my next one is when I was mad at someone, I would give someone the silent treatment. And guess what? Again, like what I said before, this was normalized in my household growing up. You were expected to just be silent with one another instead of opening up and communicating why you were upset, because that open atmosphere wasn't there. And then you were expected after a couple of days, everything just forgot everything happened.
Not even a couple days. A couple hours.
And maybe a couple hours. Sometimes
Blew
if it was
away.
a bigger
Where'd it
argument,
go?
a couple of days later,
Yeah.
just go back to normal, acting
Yeah.
like nothing happened.
Why are you upset?
Yeah. Oh, like food's ready. Come eat it.
Why are you so mad? Like,
Right.
what's going on?
Exactly.
Like, there's nothing that happened.
Exactly.
4 hours ago, she like flipped the house upside down.
Yeah. And then honestly, you're in the wrong for even like still being mad
Yeah.
and acknowledging that an argument
Yeah.
even ensued. But anyway, so I was a big culprit of the silent treatment, right? And I thought it was normal for everyone when they were angry at one another to, blow off some steam, like maybe just don't talk to each other for a couple of days, ignore one another. I thought that was normal.
You sicko.
I've done it in past relationships and friendships. I was like, okay, I'm good to go. Lord behold, when I met this man and I tried pulling that, I was like, oh, thank God we're long distance. We don't even have to see each other.
Talk to this.
I genuinely don't even have to talk to him. Like, I don't even have to FaceTime him, and that's fine. Like, that's normal. It's not like he's gonna pull up to New York and we have to talk face to face. Tell me why he told me that like I'm abnormal.
That's exactly how I said it.
I mean, at that point, you might as well have pulled up to New York and just have fixed the problem yourself.
Right.
But like, I tried pulling a few silent treatments with you in the beginning, and it didn't really work. It didn't really work. You had to, guide me through the light and actually get me to talk about my feelings and open up.
How
oh
dare
my
I.
God. And
How dare I?
yeah, you really taught me to have a healthy relationship and communicate. Yeah.
It's kind of crazy that she just said those words.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't really get that too often.
I guess.
But
yeah, you made it feel the opposite. You made me feel normal. Of like, it's not the norm
wow.
to give each other the silent treatment and
Wow.
be angry with one another and not communicate and just get over it.
This is just a glaze fest.
It's what?
Now I got a question.
Yeah.
Why do you still
Well,
do
hello.
it?
Fix your voice first and then ask it again.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why do you still do it then?
What are you talking about?
I'm joking.
Let's be honest with each other. I still do it? I still do it.
I don't. You don't go silent, but you go like the.
This is my disclaimer.
Yeah.
I think me and you cope differently. Where when you're mad at me, you have to leave the room and sit by yourself.
Yeah. Facts.
Whereas when I get upset, I also shut down a little bit, but I prefer to talk it through. Okay, what do you think I do?
I don't think you talk it through. I think you are talking it through, but in reality, you are just yelling.
I'm not yelling.
You're not yelling, but you are just sharing your side and just not being receptive to the other side.
I understand. The other side as in you. I see.
Indeed.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
You agree or no?
I can understand your point of view.
Who are you, a politician, Mo?
But it was interesting because the other day I was upset with my bestie because she's been doing a lot of heinous stuff.
Yeah, like what?
A lot of heinous stuff
Like
that I
what?
will not be sharing.
Name it.
But
do you just want to tell them, but just not drop the name?
No,
All
she's just been upsetting me as a person, as someone is when they're in a toxic relationship that you've been talking to them over and over about, right? She's been really upsetting me, and I'm like, okay, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give her the silent treatment so she really gets how upset I am. So she really understands what she did is not right.
That'll show 'em.
And then eventually she'll stop doing the thing that upsets me. And then I'm like, okay, what am I, still 14? And then I had to actually pick up her phone call, give her a good stern conversation.
Yeah.
And talk the feelings and have that mature, uncomfortable talk.
Yeah, you did that.
Yeah. And, that was like a little wake-up call for me because I'm like, dang, I really got beyond who I used to be with how I react to uncomfortable situations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's facts.
Yeah.
That's facts. You did that.
Yeah. Do you have any more?
No, not really.
Okay. We can talk briefly about
all that's wrong with me.
So, as you guys know, on our podcast at Difficultish, if you guys don't know on Instagram, we post the story before we record on what we're about to record, and we ask you guys for your feedback, your stories, your questions, your experiences, just so we can potentially feature it in our episode, right? So this week we asked you guys, are there any red flags that you might have that you are trying to unlearn or have unlearned, and what are they? What has prevented you from unlearning it?
Yeah, y'all draw some good ones.
Yeah. You want to share one?
Yeah, one person said, my boy, he said, trying to stop hoarding stuff I don't need, but immigrants' households literally never throw anything out.
That's a good one.
Shout out to immigrant cluster core,
that's a good one.
Having this and that at the house. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think I've really unlearned the immigrant, hoarding mindset. Because I also grew up in a very hoarding type of household, right? And I have the system now where if I don't have a place or a system for something, I'm throwing it out. For example, if I have a thank you card or sentimental things, we went to see The Lion King the other day on Broadway. I have a box where I keep memories, right? But we have 2 tickets, one for me, one for him. I'm not going to keep both. So I kept one, I threw the other one out, right? And when I get Tupperware from, takeout and my neighbor Matt, when he gives food, I keep only a few of the Tupperwares, but I throw the rest out.
Okay.
Okay.
So
things like that. It's have a place maybe for your socks, have a place maybe for your mementos and things like that. But if you get something, don't feel like you have to keep all of it just because you have a scarcity mindset associated with oh my god, I got this pencil in the mail, I have to keep it because it's a pencil, I'll never see another pencil again. You'll see another pencil.
You will.
And then just have a place for everything so you can kind of keep things organized.
But when done right, can be very beautiful.
I don't understand.
I'm not gonna lie.
What do you mean?
Because immigrant cluster core is it's the rejection of whiteness. It's the rejection of minimalism. It's embracing what it means to be an immigrant and to just have a bunch of stuff because your culture is very important.
No, of course. I love that. I love maximalism. I love really embracing your side, your cultural side. But I'm talking about when it's so to the point where you're not able to find things because you just have a cluster shit of things that you don't need. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's OD.
That's
the
extreme point
of
hoarding.
But I love have you ever walked in my house is kind of like this. I just got so much stuff on my wall.
Yeah, but it's beautiful. It's like a
that's
museum.
That's what I'm saying.
That's not hoarding.
But it's just it's random. It's just randomness.
Hoarding is when you have Bangla newspapers from 2004 on your table still.
I think I like that. I'm not gonna lie.
But if you get a newspaper every single week, do you know how many newspapers that is?
That's 52 kind of fire, weeks, though.
52 weeks out of the year.
If I walked into someone's house and they got a newspaper from 2004,
when you walk into my house, you will see that.
I'm that's fire. I would want that. That's fire.
52 weeks out of the year, 52 newspapers for 20 years straight. Can you do the math?
Okay, if you got, a 10 feet tall stack of newspaper, that's OD. But if you got random shit from random times, that's dope. I'm not gonna
Okay. All right.
That's dope.
Me and you got
Let us know. Someone said self-depreciating humor as a defense mechanism. My younger self deserved better. For real. You ever did a lot of that?
Yeah, I did.
Nah, it's okay. I'm ugly anyways. I'm ugly and nasty anyways.
You still do that?
Yeah.
Why do you do that? I think you do that just to get a reaction out of me. You do that just so I give you a compliment.
No.
Yes,
no,
it is. You literally.
What I say as a joke. Like, I'm not being for real.
But we have to give grace to our younger selves, and
Yeah.
imagine saying that to you, like you as a present saying that to your 15-year-old self. That's
Yeah,
so sad.
I remember like
cry.
when I was younger, like I used to just assume that I was gonna like fail every test anyway. You know,
Yeah.
so like when I failed, I like wasn't surprised in myself,
Yeah.
and like I would be surprised if I did well. You know,
Mhm.
but like that's obviously like the opposite mindset that you should have. You know,
Yeah.
that's just like conditioning yourself to think that like you're a dummy.
Yeah, and
Not
you're
right.
not.
I'm
You're
not a dummy.
Your mind is such a powerful thing. Like what
Uh-uh.
you tell your mind, it truly manifests and becomes your life. So if you keep telling yourself that you're dumb or ugly or whatever, this and that, you're not capable, it's gonna truly make you feel like you're not good enough.
Yeah.
So it's important to train yourself to say positive things about yourself. Do we have a whole episode on that? I feel like we do.
Probably. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
You'll find
Maybe.
something.
Go find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. You want to do another one?
Yeah, let's do another one.
But my legs are getting tired. Someone said, you know how growing up we've thought, OMG, aunties are so mean and judgmental. And then as you start to literally become the aunties as you go from being a teen to an adult, unlearning that right now. You ever felt like a little like urge of that? A little urge of like, I'm becoming a little auntie-ish.
Yeah. But what are some of the toxic traits of an auntie? Like a gossiper,
just
judgmental.
gossip, judgment, just like
Just a hater.
just hating, you know, talking behind their back, you know,
Yeah.
fake, you know, just being nice up front, or
Mhm.
like, and you know, and
I think,
things like that.
something that holds you apart from those aunties is having that accountability.
wow.
So the fact that you even sent this in and you are aware that you might become like that or you're getting to that is different from those people who are already like that, because you're actually acknowledging that these are bad traits that you don't want to acknowledge, so that you don't want to exhibit, right? So that's a good step, right? That's a good step.
Yeah.
And then it's up to you to like not have all of those traits. Be
Yeah.
a better friend. Don't just make friends that are based off of gossiping of one another. Like, have supportive friends, and maybe you work on yourself and your confidence and your self-esteem, so you're not judging other people and tearing them apart because you're actually insecure about your own life, right?
Yeah.
My thoughts.
Did that.
Yeah.
Facts. Good one, buddy.
Good episode?
Yeah, good one.
You like this one?
Yeah, it's a good one.
What'd you like?
Yeah, good. You got any 10-second
do.
advice for? Thank God. Please share.
Copying will not get you far in life, right? Like, yeah, maybe if you're sitting behind someone, you're copying someone's answers, you got 100 because they got 100. Yeah. But if you're doing long term and you continuously feel like you'll get ahead in life because you're copying people that are smarter than you or whatever, you're actually gonna fail eventually, right? You know, sometimes I do this thing, and you can attest to this. When you're taking a hot yoga class and you're looking at yourself in the mirror, usually you can keep your balance a lot more, right? Because you're focused on yourself. You are looking at a very stagnant spot where you're not going to trip over yourself. But if you're following someone else in that class and checking out their moves, you're going to probably stumble and fall, right? Because either they're doing the wrong move, or you're watching their every step where you're focused on if they're going to fall or not, which makes you fall, right? And this always happens. So with that in mind, I think it's important to carve your own way and make those mistakes on your own and just not copy.
That's a bar.
Yeah.
You thought that yourself?
I've been thinking about it for a while. Yeah.
That's a good one. You
Or at
make
least
like
2
a whole,
episodes.
you should make you should make like a TikTok about that one. That's
Yeah.
a good.
Thanks.
That's a good one.
You got one or no? You just want to like,
of course, of course.
it's gonna be like, yeah, guys, eat for iftar and Ramadan Mubarak.
What am I to you?
That's literally what
Mickey
you
Mouse.
say. You are Mickey Mouse.
No, I generally don't got none. I'm be honest. I'm out of advice. Just like a reminder, like carve out some time in your day to like indulge in like your favorite hobbies. You know, like the fruitful hobbies. You understand? Like the you know, like not the watching Shark Tank. just twiddling your fingers, play some chess or some paddleball, or things that like you actually enjoy, because those things make you happy. And at the end of the day, like, we're just trying to be happy, you understand?
So anyway,
You don't like that one?
our Bangla word of the day, we could say newspaper since we already brought it up.
Yeah.
Tikana.
Tigana.
That's how you say newspaper in Bangla.
Tikana.
We hope you learn a thing or two from our little Bangla segment of the week.
Drop some newspapers in our comments on the Friday post, and please rate the podcast, review the podcast, please do all that stuff. And I hope you have a blessed rest of your month, the rest of Ramadan.
We love you guys. Allah Hafiz.